You are listening to the Angie Chu Podcast Radio Network.
I'm not sponsored, but gray matter, blue light glasses are really stylish and nice, and I like them. So buy them. Gray matter, sponsor me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bananas Toast Podcast, where we are recapping the Circle US Season 1. This is Episode 7, Picking Teams, and without further ado, I'm one half of this podcast, the Auntie Chu.
I am the other half of this podcast, everyone's favorite father figure, weird uncle, black truck driving. Figured out I could change a spare tire today. Having a bad week in hopes to make it better, Papa D.
Not woo for the bad week, but woo, it's you. I cannot change a spare tire. I pay AAA and I just kind of chill on the side of the road until they show up. But yeah, I hope your week gets better. I had my birthday. I'm 31 now, and I got a promotion at work. So I'm having a good week. But I don't want to celebrate it because you just had a flat tire.
It's all right. It happens. Hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood. I'm gonna get up in the morning. There's a tire place around the corner. I'm gonna get that. So I'm gonna work on walking in there, hat in hand, being like, "Hey, listen, I need a spare. I need a new tire. I just need one, and I need you guys to slap it on, and it's in the back of a flatbed. Can you please just get that done?"
Since I can mention a place to you and it's common enough that people can't creep and figure out where we live, I'll say go to the Big O right by your house if that wasn't where you were going to go. I had a flat tire like 2 years ago and I put a spare on to get home and then the spare went flat overnight. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? And so I drove to the Big O on the spare and I was like, I need a new tire. I need a new spare. And that's all I'm getting. I don't want you to sell me multiple tires. I don't need new oil. I don't need filters. I don't need anything. I just need these. And then I need to go to work because I'm late for work. And they were like, yeah, we're just going to give you like the cheapest stuff we can. I mean, not like cheap quality, but like, we're just going to give you what you need. And they had me in and out in like 35 minutes and their building had Wi-Fi. So this is before my work was work from home. So I was able to tell my boss like, hey, I'm at Big O. And I'm going to work from Big O and I'll let you know when I'm on the way to the office. And it was a great experience. I like it. So I recommend Big O.
Yeah, I've been to Big O before because this has happened to me before. My only issue is Big O doesn't open until like 8:30. I have to be at work at 9, whether it's at home or at the office. So I'm going to Michael's Tire Plus across the so that's a little bit closer. Mm-hmm. And they open at 7 a.m. So I'm just going to show up there bright and early and be like, I already talked to them about it. So just show up there and I need a tire. It's in my flatbed. So just can you put it on the new rim? Can you put a new one on the rim? Get that on there and then honestly throw the spare in the flatbed. I will put it back underneath my truck at a later time.
Cool. Quick and easy. Oh, car stuff. Not a fan of car stuff. Yes. But before we get to this,
speaking of car stuff,
I
was going to say, speaking of car stuff, that ties into one of our new roommates, who's an auto mechanic, or I think he said auto engineer.
I thought you were meaning like your house for a second. I was like, you have a new roommate? What? Yeah, this ties directly into this episode. But I was going to say, first of all, before we get started, I do have a fun update for you. I don't know which day, but the Challenge 37 has finished filming. So this is my warning, my seasonal warning that if you want to be unspoiled, do not read comments on Instagram or Twitter that are on any of the cast members' posts for like the next 2 weeks, whether they were on the show or not. because people will type in spoilers. I don't think they know the placement order yet. But I have seen 2 people that I know get eliminated at some point over the past week or 2. So I know the spoilers are out there. But yeah, the show has wrapped. I've seen, I won't say who, but I've seen some people flying home today on their story. It doesn't mean they were finalists, because most of these people, remember, will stay in the country and just party until it wraps, because they've already told their job, I'm off until this date. Right. So when they get eliminated, they stay. So I don't know if they were finalists, if they were not. If they were, it's a good bunch of people. But yeah, definitely excited. And rumor has it, late July, early August, MTV is going to throw this out, because they're filming so much programming right now that they're trying to push things out quick. So we're going to get a new season very, very shortly. And we still haven't seen the cast member from The Circle yet.
Oh my God. I really thought it was the new one. I really thought it was this new guy. He seems like it. Also, honestly, Joey. I'm looking at all the in shape people. Like, that's the big thing. Like, it's not going to be an Adam or an Alex. No. Because they've tried that in the past with, like, the out of shape, in shape, but still out of shape guy. And it's like, oh, he's just kind of boring. And also, real talk, God, if Alex, this house would chew him up alive if he went in there.
Oh, yeah. He would not survive. He would not live. Now the person that is on, when you see him, you'll be like, oh yeah, he's good for the challenge. So it is an in shape guy. Trying to remember the order. He might be the next one in. I'm not for sure, but I think he's the next one in, because he's the last one. And I'm pretty sure after he comes in, then it's just eliminations until there's a final 5. So I think he's the next person we meet. If he's not, there's only one other one, but I can't think of who I'm missing if there's one more person other than him. So in the next week or 2, you'll get to meet our challenge contestant.
Okay. Well, it's going to be weird. But this episode overall was strange. And the reason I say that is because a lot of stuff happened. We see some new sides to people. Still can't stand Adam/Alex. And you can just, we're gonna get to it, but you can just see that he's an outsider by definition, just because of him, just because of a chat that we end up seeing. But we get introduced to 2 new roommates. One's Sean, the other's Bill. Sean's 25 from New York City. She's a plus-size clothing company social media manager. She's deciding to catfish is Colleen as a way to basically because she wants to win the game, and she knows I'm fat, so people won't like me or respect me. But if I shows off as one of my skinny friends, who looks like a freaking model, like Colleen, I swear, that picture looks so familiar. I'm like, you're a model somewhere. I refuse to believe you're not, because I know I've seen that somewhere.
So where you've probably seen her, like, you haven't seen Colleen, but Colleen, like the person, looks uncannily similar to Morgan Willett from the challenge, and also Johnny Banana's girlfriend of like the past 3 years. Like, dead up looks more like Morgan than Morgan's own sister. Every time I see the picture, I'm like, are you sure there's a Colleen? You didn't just take Morgan's pictures? But I think you said you follow Johnny. So you've probably, even if you haven't seen Morgan's season, you've probably seen her. She's also been on reality TV before the challenge. So that's probably where some of the I know you from somewhere is coming from. She looks like a Morgan twin.
Maybe I haven't seen. I mean, if I have seen Johnny's girlfriend, I guarantee I haven't paid attention, because I'm like, I don't know you, but Johnny Bananas. But so maybe that's it. But I literally look at those photos and I'm like, okay, first of all, you're a model, and second of all, I know I've seen your picture somewhere. Like, I refuse to believe I haven't. Not in a dirty way, but just like literally TV, magazine, something. I have seen your photo somewhere of you walking a runway because that's how those photos look. But she's decided to catfish, and with this game, as much as I hate catfishing in real life, I'm not gonna lie, I don't blame her just because at this point, it's just people trying to win and trying to be fake and real at the same time, which we'll talk about Rebecca slash Seaburn in a minute, because good God, he slash she, they ran into some problems. Oh my, like that's just one of those things. Like, bro, you need to just back the hell out. You should like no. Like if they find out you're a catfish at this point, I don't blame them just because we'll go into that. But the other roommate, because we got two of them, his name is Bill. He is a tall white boy with short hair and a beard. 27 from Chicago. I think he said auto engineer. I felt, or I remembered mechanic. He works with cars. And he's playing as himself because, of course, he's an in shape, attractive white dude who's tall. So it's like, I have nothing literally to hide. And so basically, they set up their profiles and they get to scope out the roommates. They find out they're doing trivia night, and they find out they're going to be the team captains for trivia night. And so they're just scoping out people who's smart, who's not, who's a brain, who's a muscle, and they're just trying to figure stuff out. Both of them zoom in on Shuby like, look at him graduating. Looks like UCLA has a tassel thing, like a long sash. Means he's super smart at something. Okay, yeah, no, he's definitely a brain. And so we get the alert that it's trivia night, and they get split into two teams. And guess what? They find out the two captains are not the influencers, but the two new roommates that they just found out about. And it's like, oh god.
Yeah, overall, I am not an Alex fan, obviously, in this show, but I loved all the reactions when it was revealed there were two new roommates, and they're all like, Sean and Bill. And Alex just like, who the fuck is Sean and Bill? And like the way he said it just had me cracking up. And I'm like, you get a couple points for that. You get a couple of points. He actually didn't aggravate me as much this episode, I will say. This much is key. But he had some moments like this where I'm just like, okay, I can deal with you. But yeah, it's fun. They get to find out about people this way. Like, always expect the unexpected on this show. And then they have a good old like gym class, pick your team call out that spikes almost everyone's anxiety at all times. Which I think is why reality TV shows love doing this, so that they can freak out players. But they let Sean go first. Yep. She chooses Sammie. I figured she would have gone Shuby because they both wanted Shuby, but she chooses Sammie. She realizes, like a lot of these girls have, Sammie's going to be competition if she's not my friend. So she picks Sammie, head of the class, which lets Bill get Shuby. And then Sean then picks up Alex because she needs someone sporty. Bill gets Chris. Sean gets Miranda. And then we're down to the final two. Bill takes Rebecca, and Joey's like, why? What did I do to deserve this? But then Joey gets to pick his team. And so he picks Sean's team. He likes that team the best. And all the players get not jerseys, but like jackets delivered to their door. Sean's team is the blue team, and Bill's team is the red team.
Yep. In which case they have different categories and stuff that they get to basically compete in. Each captain sends one member of their team up to answer said question or address each trivia question and go from there. The first category is sports. So that leads us to Alex / Adam, who, by the way, not a sports fan, but unfortunately, guess what, bro? You picked a sports type dude. So guess what? You get that versus Bill. Bill steps up. It's like, all right, let's go. They show a picture of a player and they say, name the team he's on. And I'm just like, I'd be screwed. I don't know jack about. I know very little about professional sports, traditional professional sports. MMA, I could maybe talk about it. Wrestling all day, every day.
I
But
can
no, like
do
baseball and
Yeah, I can do some sports, like traditional. I can do a lot of the more alternative sports. So, like, BMX, skateboarding, wrestling, hockey, gymnastics, those kind of things. And then I know about basketball, but I'm not big on football or baseball. I'm the weakest on baseball of anything. So I would have been completely screwed with this. I would have been so screwed I couldn't even think of a team. Like I would be like, I don't even know how to fake it and throw out a random team. I would have been like, no. But what we see, and we see this, I think a couple more times this season, but mostly in season 2, is that a lot of the catfishes have brought little cheat sheet books with them, like notebooks. So we see that Alex has done his homework, to be a good catfish. I'll give him that. And he's got a big sports section. He's written down enough about teams and players that he's able to very quickly realize this is the Houston Astros. And both, Adam/Alex and Bill get this right pretty quickly. And we get Chris just quipping, hey, it's almost the Astro.
Chris is drunk. And no one can tell me any different. Chris got drunk way too early on this no one can tell me. This dude, because you can just see how he handles himself during this part of the episode versus the next part of the episode, where it's like, okay, someone let him in the booze early, or he's kind of a lightweight because he's just drinking a bottle of beer. I don't know how many he went through, but no, Chris is drunk. Because anybody's like, very few sober people, even those who don't like sports or aren't into sports, go like, you add an extra S, you got the Astros. And it's like, so you're drunk.
There probably aren't any drinking restrictions yet. Like most reality shows don't put drinking restrictions until they have to, which is usually after a few seasons when people do a lot of things they shouldn't. And a lot of times they'll try to put the main restrictions on problem players, like from the challenge world, like CT, Camilla, Tony, like they're the people that have like the bigger restrictions. But a lot of these shows don't want to put drinking restrictions because drunk people make good TV. So with this being the first season, it's probably wide open. We've seen these people drinking already, even Shuby like double fisting some drinks. So I'm pretty sure Chris is just enjoying himself.
Yep.
But
also there's less to worry about with this one just because
they're in an apartment.
They're in rooms by themselves. Like that thing, like the worst case scenario, they get drunk and try to hurt themselves, God forbid. But otherwise, they're not doing a lot. They're gonna get drunk and be like, I want to go home, and then try and open up the balcony like, I need air. I need to breathe fresh air. It's one of those things where it could get problematic, but at the same time, it's like it's not like the challenge where, oh my God, if they get too drunk, somebody's going to end up fighting somebody. But yeah, Chris is hammered. I refuse to believe otherwise.
So next we have the film category. Papa D and I discussed this one a little bit before we started recording. Sean picks Miranda and Bill picks Rebecca. Both Miranda and Rebecca, aka Seaburn, are excited about this. And then we see like a little emoji puzzle to figure out what it says. I feel like I would have gotten this eventually, but it would have taken a bit. And then we saw Miranda get it right and Rebecca get it wrong because, spoiler alert, the answer was sex and the city, and Rebecca said sex in the city. I never watched that show, and normally when I say it, I do say sex and the city. But even though Miranda had just gotten it right seconds before, when Rebecca put sex in the city, it didn't dawn on me. And I was like, what do you mean it's wrong? Why is it wrong? Like, just like everyone else. So I could have potentially gotten it wrong if in the heat of the moment I said in and not and. But I would have had to think on this puzzle anyway. It would not have been a very instinctual answer, especially since I usually think of it as a show and not as a movie. It did have a movie, but I would have been trying to think of like just standalone movies most likely.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I said Sex in the City. I thought it was Sex in the City. Like literally, I did not think it was Sex and the City. I'm like, that title makes no sense. Sex and the City. It's like you mean
I
Sex in the City? That makes sense. And the city, and I'm like, whatever.
I just checked something, but no, it's always been and because I've seen sometimes when there's like a movie version of a show, they change the title slightly. And I was like, I wonder if one is and one is end, but no, it's all end. But again, like it was right. If I was a year or two older, I probably would have seen it. And I know some people my age have seen it and love it. But it's in a time where I was mainly watching anime when this show was airing, and then I had some, cartoons, and then like the Disney sitcoms like Lizzie McGuire, and most of like the big people shows that I was watching were like Just Shoot Me and That 70s Show. I hadn't graduated up to the HBO ones. The first one I did was Nip Tuck, and that was FX, and that was risky to watch as like a 12-year-old because it's an amazing show. I adore it, but there are parts that are like softcore porn, and I have to sneak and watch it. So, I didn't watch a lot of those shows until I was older. Where if like my mother walked in, I wouldn't have gotten grounded for it. She would have just been like, "What are you watching?" But yeah, I maybe one day I'll watch it. Probably not, but I've heard it's good.
Okay, so never watched it. I've seen maybe a couple of scenes, and the only reason those scenes is because they were kind of innuendo or basically implied sex. There's one scene I remember as a child that I saw just randomly watching an episode just because I'm like, oh, I hear a lot about this, but not actually watching it. Basically, I think Miranda, the one who basically is like, who you are in bed is who you are in life, and it's like, okay, she's basically in a singlet wrestling a dude, and then they start having implied sex. I'm just like, this is hot. This is also weird. But I'm just like, okay, so wow. And then I just yeah. So it was weird, and I wasn't super into the show. But then at the end of the day, I also look at it like this show wasn't made for me, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, same for me. Like reading the description of it's a show that might be amazing, but it's not my cup of tea. Like if a friend had it on, I'd probably watch it with them, but it's nothing I would ever be like, oh, let me tune into that. Like it's just not the type of show I watch. I like comedies, reality TV, and scary shit. And like not I don't want to say medical dramas because then you go to Grey's Anatomy and I had to quit that show. But like a lot of the medical TV shows. I'm not really like a like a chick lit dramedy fan like in that regard. Yeah, I stopped watching Grey's Anatomy years ago when they just kept killing people for no reason, which is continuing because I have friends who are still weeping over that show and they're still just killing people for no reason, and my sanity could no longer take it. I'll just say without giving a spoiler, an older person on the show got electrocuted for no reason, and at the same time like an intern went to help him and also got electrocuted, and she died. The other dude survived, but then the intern's mother came in to like figure out what was going on, and some residents who didn't know she was dead were joking about her, and the mother thought that like they were making fun of a dead person. And that's when I'm like, I'm done with this. It's like I'm done with this show. But yeah, moving on because I can rant about Grace for a long time. Landmarks. This one would have been kind of hard for me. So Sean picked Sammie, and Bill picked Shuby. Sammie did not want to get picked. Shuby was like, I might be able to get this. And what they do is they show 3 images. There's a museum, a statue, and the Liberty Bell. And apparently I'm uncultured because the only one I recognized was me saying, I think that's the Liberty Bell. To the point where this is my 3rd time watching this season. And I saw the pictures again and I still couldn't fully remember what like city it was. I was like, okay, that looks like the Liberty Bell. I'm pretty sure that's the Liberty Bell. I'm going to say Philly. But then Shuby was mentioning all the other Liberty Bells. So then I'm second guessing myself the whole time. But like, I don't know any of the other clues. That's on me. So I would have gotten it right, but it would have been my only guess really would be to be like, Philly.
I definitely got this right. And the reason is because Rocky Balboa statue. That literally was about all I needed. Then the bell, and I'm like, oh, the Liberty Bell. Philadelphia was the first capital of the United States of America before Washington, D.C. Okay. Like Rocky Balboa, we're in Philly. I didn't know the museum. I didn't even, the museum, whatever monument thing that first picture was, didn't know it. But yeah, I got Philly. I'm like, this is Philadelphia. Or if you're a wrestling fan, this is Philadelphia. Either way, I'm like, okay, I would have got this. I would have been like 1 for 3. That would have been okay.
Yeah, poor Shuby gets it wrong. He's very upset. This is their 2nd wrong in a row, and the team morale's starting to fall. And Shuby's like, "I'm so sorry, guys." Because Rebecca being Seaburn's just like, "Well, I'm not really a chick," but Shuby's like, "I should have known this." So I felt bad for Shuby. And then we get another category, which is music. Which excited me because I'm good at music. And so, at least normally, are Joey and Chris. So Sean picks Joey, Bill picks Chris. They're excited and they show a picture of the Jonas Brothers. And one of them is missing. And they're like,
yes.
How are we supposed to know? And I want to debunk Chris and Joey really quick because they both were like, we're too old for the Jonas Brothers. I think the same age as Chris. I know I'm older than Joey. Joey's my husband's age. Yes, I robbed the cradle by 3 years to anyone listening. But I knew it was Kevin. And then Joey was like, I don't listen to them. I do not like the Jonas Brothers. I think them as people are good people, but I'm not a fan of their music. But I still knew it was Kevin. So I'm going to debunk them both and be like, those are just excuses. That's no excuse. But still, Joey has enough music and pop culture knowledge where he knows, Joe and Nick. And he's like, I think the 3rd brother's name was Kevin. So I'm just going to say that's Kevin. Like, if it's not, oh, well, but I think it's Kevin because I know there's a Joe and a Nick. And poor drunk Chris is like, Clayton. And I'm just dying. And then he's like, I'm going to go with Steve. And he puts in the chat and Bill's just like, Steve. Like, that's not a Jonas brother name. But yeah, Papa D, would you have known the Jonas Brothers?
No, I thought it was Joe. I really thought it was Joe.
Joe was the hot emo one. I couldn't
think of the 3rd name to save my life.
Like Joe was the hot emo one. I couldn't
think of it to save my life. I kept thinking like.
And then Nick was like the baby that like the tweens when we were in college thought was cute. And then Kevin was like the older one who's like, we have to keep our purity rings and stuff. And so I remember just being like, oh, Joe, he's so cute. If only I could listen to his music and properly swoon over it.
No, I wouldn't have got it because I kept thinking one of them names was Zach. So I know I wouldn't have got that because it's like here's the thing. Spoiler alert. I'm old enough to remember when the Jonas Brothers had a Disney TV show about them.
Mm-hmm. We old.
They had a Disney TV show about them trying to be normal teenagers because you would constantly see them getting chased around because I just remember one episode they're getting chased around because another school was visiting, and guess what? The entire school that they were already in were used to the Jonas Brothers being part of their school, but the visiting school was like, then literally I think Nick was the one who was like, yeah, but there's a school visiting us and they like the Jonas Brothers and they're not used to us being around. They're like, son of a bitch. Chase sequence, chase sequence, chase sequence. At one point, Joe Jonas grabs a golf cart and is just driving his brothers away, like, hey, bro, what's up, bro? Let's go. Okay. Do, 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 do. Like, aha, we got this.
My big introduction to the Jonases was actually the South Park episode with the evil Mickey Mouse and the purity rings. Which looking back on it was like freaking insane that they were able to do that. Because growing up, I actually wasn't a huge fan of South Park until like I forgot what season it was,
Right.
but when they started doing more of like social commentary and story arcs instead of just the random poop joke of the day. And I loved how it would be a social commentary and a story arc, but every season you have those one or two just random like silly episodes. And so I just figured this was their silly episode just to make fun of the Jonas Brothers. But now that they're older and they've spilled all their dirty secrets, it's like they were actually right, where the Jonas Brothers did not want to wear the purity rings. They hated the purity rings. After a while, they weren't even virgins anymore. They did like, oh my God, marijuana and stuff. And they wanted the purity rings to come off. And Disney forced them to keep the purity rings on. Same with like Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato and Miley Cyrus and all of them. So it really was evil Mickey Mouse forcing these kids to keep their purity rings on and basically beating them in terms of ruining their publicity if they threaten to take them off. And I'm just like, Matt and Trey are crazy that they nailed that years before like it came out as truth. I'm just like, oh my God. At the time it was just funny, but now I'm like, they were right.
I can tell you exactly. Yeah, probably because they literally did interviews with Disney kids. Disney has an entire boot camp dedicated for their stars. They also apparently have an entire security team or security basically firm where basically if a Disney star feels like their life is being threatened or they need extra security, they talk to producers. Producers literally give them a card, call these people, tell them we sent you, they will get you taken care of. And yeah, they have an entire boot camp, and there's literally clauses in their contract about how they're supposed to act. Like this is like I get that this is like South Park was a joke, but at the same time, no, I really do feel like the writers of South Park for this episode, they just found Disney stars, specifically probably ex-Disney stars, and was like, what's Disney really like? And they said, here's what it's like. You represent a multi-billion-dollar brand of purity.
They probably got like the Musketeer era, like Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, JC Chazé, Christina Aguilera, like all of them. Because I remember, and I mean, we were so much younger that it's just I thought it was normal until I got older. I remember being 10 and in the tabloids, oh, Christina Aguilera is going crazy because she's wearing like low-rise pants and a crop top that's singing about being dirty and getting wet in a wrestling ring. And I'm just like, oh my God, I hope she's okay. And I'm like, she was like 19, she's just having some fun. Or I very clearly remember, because it was all over the tabloids, all over Entertainment Tonight and stuff, when Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake came out and said they done the dirty, and everyone was like clutching their pearls. And at the time, I clutched mine too, because I thought we were supposed to. But then a few years later, it dawned on me they'd been dating for like 3 years and they were millionaires and they were both like 21, 22. And I'm like, pearls unclutched. Like, you're telling me they're just normal people. So I feel like the Musketeers probably spilled to the South Park people. Like, no, here's what goes down in Disney.
Absolutely, because like I said, it's one of those things. I feel like I knew this, but I don't watch South Park, but I knew this for a while, even as a kid. Like, no, Disney stars are one of the most trapped people on the planet because it's Disney. So guess what? You're on everything if they decide to put their force behind you. You will represent them. You are a kid friendly PG type person, which means you're not going to clubs. If you are, it is basically social media blackout, even though this is before social media, all these things where just literally you do anything stupid, your ass is done. Demi Lovato proved that, considering she had an entire show with which basically it was a show about her being on a sketch comedy show. And then when everything went down with her, it then just turned into a sketch comedy show. And I'm just like, um, no. I could deal with the show I could deal with the show being a show about them filming a sketch comedy show and kid actors, but no, when it turned into a sketch, I'm like, this is not okay. If I wanted a sketch comedy show, I would have went back to all that Nickelodeon. So just no. But yeah. But as far back to the show, as far as this goes, like it's basically the Jonas Brothers. Chris lost, and the narrator says something perfect. Like, I don't know who to be proud of or ashamed of. Joey shouldn't know this, and Chris should. Chris didn't know this because he was a little hammered. Joey knew this. He guessed, which is fine. That's understandable. But he still technically knew this, and it's like, who are we proud of and who are we ashamed of? I don't know which. And I'm like, that's a great question because I don't know which. Joey should know this, and that's okay. It's just not his thing. Chris looks like a Disney kid. Looks like a Disney kid who got confidence to be himself, but he looks like a Disney kid, where it's like, you should know this.
He looks like a Disney kid who probably likes his era of Disney kids now that they're adults and becoming themselves. They've hit their crazy manic tabloid phase and they're coming out of it. And so I feel like he's probably like a Selena Demi fan, like that era where I think that's his sweet spot. But yeah, Team Sean wins with a landslide. They get everything right. Compared to only one right on poor Bill's team. And the prize is all of the people on Sean's team get a video message from home, except Sean herself, because this is day one of her being on the show. And we get to see their, videos. They're very sweet and sentimental. Miranda, remember in another episode, we heard about her family issues, how she was like foster kid and stuff. So her video is from her three best friends, which in honesty are probably her family. Friends can be your family. That's probably her family, like basically sisters to her. Alex, we get a sweet moment with him. It's his wife, Gina.
Toretto, friends can be family.
Oh yeah. Alex has his wife Gina and cat named Blooper. It's a sweet message. I kind of cringed a bit because Gina at one point said, "I can't wait for the world to see how you really are." And I'm like, oh Lord, like I wonder what she thought watching this back.
Yeah. You are completely right. Let's see what else. Sammie got to talk to her aunt, who basically raised her after her mom died. You got Joey who got to talk with who got to talk with his mom, and basically everybody teared up, everybody was emotional. Alex / Adam, like you said, got to talk with his wife Gina, and I'm like, you're in trouble, kid. Not for flirting, but for just literally being a creeper. Like, bro, no, like, no, don't. Like, I can't wait people see who you really are. If this is how he really is, do you need help, honey? Like, for real, blink twice if you need help. Are you being held hostage? Like, something, because damn, no. This dude, no. I'm like, it's one of those things, he isn't cheating on you, because if this is how he flirts in real life, no woman's falling for that with the way he looks. I'm sorry to say it, but he ain't got the looks to pull up something that creepy. So it's like, it's one of those things like, is he emotionally abusing you? Like, is he physically abusing you? We don't know. Like, just good God, do you need help? Blink twice. Just blink twice. Look at me. dead in my eye. I'm gonna count to 5. I want you to just blink twice after 5. Okay, and then like I'm gonna count to 6 and 7. If you blink twice within those 2 seconds, I know you need help. We will take the necessary precautions. Do you need me to murder him? Okay, did you don't worry about just flick your hair if you need me to murder him. At that point in time, we will work it the fuck out. I got a cleaner. Like
Yeah.
no, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Alex / Adam. No.
Yeah, hopefully Gina's doing good. I only follow some of their Instagrams and I do not follow Alex. I might creep after we record this just to see if they're still happily married, if there's any commentary about how she felt like the way he played the game this season. But we'll see. The next morning though, all of the pre-existing castmates do like a deep dive on Sean and Bill's profiles. They're like, oh, these are two hot people that look like they can be fun. And then also the people that got their video chats, they check in with one another and see how they liked it. Joey says, it was the best gift he could have had. And Sammie takes the opportunity to explain her family situation, which I think the amazing part isn't because when you hear mom died, aunt raised me, you think mother, sister, but her mom died and her dad's sister raised her. So for whatever reason, her dad was unable to, it sounds like. And the sister just at the age of, I think she said 20, immediately stepped up and just took her in and raised her. And that's incredible to do. I'm sure a lot of people would do it, but it would be back and forth. Like, are you sure I'm the only person? And it sounds like this person was just like, give her to me. She's mine. And everyone's really touched about that, especially Miranda, who has her own, family issues. And also Joey, because we know how big of a family person Joey is. And now he's got 2 very attractive girls, but also have kind of rough family histories. And you can see for a moment, he's not trying to be funny. He's not trying to be flirty. He's just like heartbroken for Sammie and Miranda and like what they've been through.
Exactly. In which case they all just kind of basically bond over this. And then Sammie finally is like, should we add Bill? Just get to know him. We're gonna add Bill. They add Bill and they welcome him. Joey and Bill bond instantly over just being bros and broing out. This basically makes Adam / Alex very jealous. But it's just like, because he's like, oh, I want to be his friend. I should be his friend. God, why aren't I not being his friend? And I'm just like, you're not on their wavelength, and that's okay, bro. Like, that's really it. I'm not on their wavelength either. I am an out of shape, fat black nerd. Like, no, we do not. I'm not gonna be talking about, dude. I just did some leg lifts in the gym. Man, my legs are killing me, dog. You know what I mean? I know what you mean, dude. But hey, my mom, she's cooking a lasagna tonight, and I had some of it. It was dope as hell. I freaking loved it. Hashtag proud mama's boy for life. Just like, no, you're not on that wavelength, and that's okay. So you can't catfish that way. You just can't.
Yeah, like he's been trying to get a bond with Joey, and it kind of works, but it's a fake bond, and Joey doesn't know that, but he can tell that like what he has with Bill is a little better, so he's gravitating towards Bill because it's someone actually that he would be friends with instead of a catfish. But Adam's super annoyed. So instead of trying to DM one of them and form a bond, he decides to go flirt with Rebecca instead. And we get the fun catfish on catfish accent again. The same old of, I need to keep this person in my corner. Adam's throwing in a bunch of, hashtag Rebecca and Adam forever, hashtag hearts, and Rebecca's just like, well, he's a number for me.
Pretty much. Basically, Seaburn is seeing right through Adam / Alex is flirting, laying down all the smooth. Where's the day, sugar? Just literally seeing all through it. I'm just like, oh, thank God. Even though you're a dude, just thank the Lord. Because oh God. Um, like Angie said, I feel like Angie mentioned this at the beginning of when this guy entered, or she may have mentioned this to me off show. Like, run. If you catch a dude DMing you like this, messaging you like this, run. He is like, no, he is screwing up. It is what it is. But basically, then Sean decides to message Chris and tries to get to know him, and trying to get them to dish about the roommates and things like that nature because she just feels like Chris is gonna be real, not gonna be this nice guy like everyone's trying to be. And so they don't really dish about the roommates, they more dish about makeup tips, in which case Sean runs into an issue of just being like, how do you get your beauty to look so good? How do you get all your makeup look so good? And Sean's just like, I have a fake profile. That's how. I'm literally not a real person. That is my friend who's basically a model. Like, nah. And so she just gracefully backs out like, this is just being held together by sweat and a prayer. Chris just responds being like, I know, honey, oh my God, the Lord is holding my face together, like backing out of it slowly, trying to just literally trying not to give herself away. And it's kind of funny. Then we got Shuby messages Joey and Alex to kind of get them to bond. They talk about home in the video. Shuby's close to the parents, and basically how they all want to have company. Adam/Alex kind of screws up even more, getting in his own head, not trying to sound right. It's just honestly comes off a little awkward, but nobody really notices at this point.
Yeah. Speaking of Alex, I just went to Instagram and checked. He and Gina are still together, at least as of April, for her birthday. He posts about once a month, and he's posted like his cat and stuff since. But it looks like whatever happened, it didn't ruin the marriage. Hopefully, the marriage itself is different than what we see on TV. But we get to the ratings, and as usual, I've written down what ratings they show. Because of course they don't want to show everything because then you could pretty easily do the math and figure out who scores where, and they want to keep some things a cliffhanger. So Sammie puts Adam 6 because she just plain old doesn't like him. Rebecca puts Adam 4th.
Yep.
Adam has Rebecca in 2nd place. Shuby puts Rebecca in 1st. Poor innocent Shuby. It's like, I trust Rebecca completely. She's my sister. She would never lie to me. And I'm like, oh, you poor summer child. Rebecca put Shuby in 2nd. Adam put Shuby all the way down to 6th place. Shuby has Chris 4th. Joey has Chris 3rd. Miranda puts Joey as her number 1. Sammie puts Joey number 2. Adam puts Sammie in 4th place. Miranda has Sammie in 3rd place. Chris puts Miranda down at the bottom in 6th, and Joey puts Miranda down at 4th. So even though he was her number 1, she is not his number 1. Did I? Yeah, I don't think it didn't show Joey's first, but we can assume that's Shuby at this point. I don't think, I think Shuby had Joey 2nd from the way this pans out. But the ratings are in. Everyone's sweating except for Sean and Bill because they can't get rated. And then not just the highlight of the episode, but one of the best highlights of the season, a girl chat happens. And what I want to say to anyone out there that male identifying, this was not an exaggeration. This was not people being weird for reality TV. Girls have girl chats and they go exactly like this at all time. I have a chat with like 4 of my best girlfriends called the women's restroom. And it is all stuff like this, stuff that you don't say to your mother, don't say to your partner. And it's just honest, raw, dirty TMI stuff because that's where you ask it at. You ask it with people you trust. And so they have a girl chat, and almost immediately, Sean mentions her cramps, and the girls start talking about their periods. And Seaburn is just like, no, because of all the things he has in his little cheat sheet, this isn't one of them. he realizes like
Right.
he's gotta have Rebecca say something. She can't just be silent during this because this is something girls will talk about, and they do. And so he does get it first. He's like, put something nice and warm in your system, and that goes over well. Sammie says it's interesting because she reacts better to cold. And this isn't anything against Seaburn because some girls do better hot, some do better cold. I'm a big warm cup of tea person when it's that time. So, that's a good thing. And she said she really gets cramps. Seaburn says Rebecca's get really bad and she wants to cry and everyone's feeling sympathy for her. But then she says the only thing that happens is her left side starts to hurt really bad, which confuses them. It's not a red flag. They're just confused because they're like, I've never heard of just one side. And I think they're a little weirded out because they don't want to play, WebMD. But if someone told me only their left side hurt, I would say, you might have an ovarian cyst. You should probably go to your doctor and get that taken care of because it might be benign or it might be something worse. RIP DM Brown. And so you might want to get that looked at if it's just one side. So I feel like they don't want to pull that move, but they're either thinking it or just plain old confused. And Seaburn realizes he's messed up and has to quickly exit stage left.
Yeah. Yep. And she exits the chat gracefully like, well, I'm gonna hit the shower. And it's just like and of course I'm the guy in this, and I'm just like, oh, thank the Lord I have a dick. Like, just for real. Like, no, I couldn't survive as a woman on this planet. Not even how society treats y'all, how nature treats y'all. Like, I got cramp. Like, there's a TikTok video that explains it perfectly. And you got basically just like cramps, bleeding, hormone issues. Then there's like a week in between where you recover and you're okay, and then the shit starts all fucking over again. And you forget about it and long enough for it to just hurt that much more. Like, oh my god! And he says it, and Seaburn really just says it best. Like, I have so much respect for every woman in the world that goes through this. Yes, because men wouldn't. Men just would. Like everything. If men were given vaginas, the species would have ended so long ago. We would have died out. Because it's like, no, we're not doing this. We refuse. Absolutely not. If men would have gotten this, one of two things would have happened. Our species would have died, or unfortunately, we would have had so much medication to prevent it. Just basically be like, you know what? Nah, we're gonna skip a period this month. We're not even having it. Like, no. Oh, this bleeding shit? No, we're gonna find a way to stop it. No. Because unfortunately men rule the world, and when something inconveniences us, that's when something actually gets fucking done. It's really stupid. But at the same time, it's like that's how serious shit gets addressed. Like we tried to like Viagra was found for heart conditions, but guess what? It turns out to give people raging erections, and men were just like, "Oh, we found the cure." For what? For stress relief? For just bad boners? And of course, that's why Viagra came out. Divorce rates went up literally like 50 to 75% that year. Because suddenly it's like, I don't have to be with my wife who accepts me with the limp dick that I have. Viagra? Oh, I'm fucking like Brad Pitt. Let's go. And it's just like, yeah, because that's men. That's men. We figure shit, like when shit's seriously affecting us, we figure that shit out. But unfortunately, the men in power, when it's affecting women, we don't really care until the women start affecting us. It's basically like we're like they're not gonna perform what men think are wifely duties. Basically, withhold the strange. It's like she's withholding sex. I'm pissed. Why? She's having menstrual cramps. Yeah, we gotta do something about that. Okay. Okay. We're not gonna cure it. We're just gonna like make it manageable. Unlike men, like again, men had this, there'd be a cure. Like, oh, you're having your period? We have a cure for that. Like, no, we're not even like no. Like, fuck nature. We're gonna figure this shit out. We're gonna science some shit. God gave us free will and all the materials on the planet to do what the fuck we want. We are going to go against God's will. We're going to make sure we fucking stop periods if men had them. It's weird. It's ridiculous. It's dumb. But good God. Point is, Rebecca Seaburn knew nothing and should have just left. Like, no. Like, it's okay. Like, just like, oh, they're bad. Like, that sucks. And call it a day.
Yeah, it's like perfect time to exit before they can ask any more questions and she can say more wrong things that make them go, wait, this is a catfish. She doesn't know about periods. And so good time to exit. But then, things are kind of calm, which means it's time for alert. And the ratings have been decided. So they go through the list and poor Miranda is in 7th place. She is crushed. Adam comes in 6th. Yep. And then you get a tie for 4th, and it's Chris and Sammie. So Chris hasn't moved much. Sammie's been all over this place in this game. She's been an influencer twice. She was at the bottom one time. She's at the middle now. Like, Sammie moves this board a lot. Rebecca is in 3rd. Remember last week I said, Rebecca's already been in 3rd a few times, and it will continue. This is just Rebecca's spot, basically. However people are rating her, she will hit 3rd most weeks. I won't say her highest and lowest rating, but she will hit 3rd place most of these weeks, and it is hilarious. And then our boy Shuby is in 2nd. Joey is in 1st. They are excited because they're like best friends. For anyone who might have missed my tidbit, I think 2 episodes ago, they are still like best friends IRL, like 2 years after this film. They see each other all the time. So this was a legit friendship that formed between them. And they are excited to be influencers together and get to choose who to block. But they skip up to, the upstairs meeting, have their dinner, and they're told they can't discuss who to block. And they're confused. They're concerned. So is everyone watching down below. And it's revealed this is a twist. And there's a couple of twists that happened on this show in season 1, season 2. This one made my mouth drop open because I didn't know twists would be a thing. I thought it'd be the same process every week. And so they each will save 2 players. So there's 5 remaining, and they will each pick 2 players to save. And then the player that does not get picked goes home. So there's no, oh, you can join this team. It's if your name is not called, you're blocked. Sayonara. So everyone is nervous, and even Shuby and Joey are nervous because you have to pick your top 2, but you don't know if your bro is going to pick someone else you like. So it'd be really easy without communicating to have someone you think is going to be safe fall through the cracks, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's where they end our episode.
Everybody's in. Well, yes, but the worst part of it all is everybody's in the group chat, which means they have to work this shit out in front of them, which means it's now basically a house decision on who the fuck's getting blocked. This is where I want Adam/Alex to take an exit and call it a fucking day. That being said, so that's the icing on the crap cake, or the cherry on top, I should say, is that literally on top of having to decide to which 2 roommates to save, guess what? You're deciding that live via group chat, so everyone can see you messaging your boy and y'all trying to figure some shit out. I'm sorry, you really can't even do that. But yeah.
Yeah, all they're able to do
the ending had me laughing and crazy.
Yeah, it was a great ending. All they're able to do is post names. So if I remember correctly, it's just going to be a thing where they're like, Shuby, who are you saving? And all Shuby can put's a name. Joey, who are you saving? So not only are they having to do this without discussing it, but the other people in the chat are going to see where their alliances lie. It's like, who are you saving? Who is your bro? Who's not your bro? So it's nerve-wracking for them. And Shuby's had the fun of influencer. This is the 3rd time. Joey is pretty upset that he finally got influencer, and then this gets thrown at him.
Yep, correct. This curveball gets thrown at Joey. He just wants to sit there and talk with his boy, and producer's like, no, no, we're tired of this. No. So guess what? You're gonna pick two players. Just pick two players you want to save, and that's who's saved. Shoot, gonna pick two players he wants to save, and that's who's saved. And guess what? Last player standing or odd player out, it's gonna go home, and it's like, fuck.
This is the part where the boot order, just trying to remember in my head, gets a little fuzzy. I think I know who gets blocked next week, and if so, it's actually like a pretty interesting scene, and I'll leave it at that. Where it transpired into something else because of the nature of this blocking. So if I'm remembering who's out next correctly, it's between one of two people. It's going to be an interesting episode, not in a bad way. I enjoy it, but yeah, I'll leave you with that cliffhanger.
Oh, Jesus. We will see what happens next week. But that's the end of the show for now, as far as this episode. In which case, there's one thing left to say, and that is hit it with them socials.
So you can find me on social media at the Angie Chew. So that's going to be, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, where you guys might be watching this now. If you prefer watching podcasts other than listening, they're on YouTube, as well as TikTok. You guys might have seen both, because I am a gym rat and I used to work out every day before I got pregnant. And also I'm trying to hurriedly fit back into my cosplays that I still have from pre-pregnancy. I'm doing what I call Angie Chew's 365 Days of Fitness, where I have vowed to work out for at least 10 minutes a day, every day, for the entire year of 31. I do let people know working out can be as simple as stretching. So if it's a sick day, I can lay on my floor and stretch my muscles for 10 minutes, and that counts. And it's good to stretch too. You should stretch after you work out, boys and girls. But yeah, if you want to follow that journey, go to Instagram. If you want to jump in, you don't have to, do a whole year. Do a 30-day. Or if you don't want to work out every day, do like a 20 out of 31. Like pick something that works for you and just get motivated and move. So Instagram and YouTube are kind of my big focuses. Twitter, I've just been kind of a troll lately. And TikTok, I'm on and off.
Oh, God. Oh, Lord. Better person than me. You can find me on the Instagram at @Papadi618. You can find me on the Twitter at @Papadi618. You can find me on the Snapchat at Papadi618. You can find me on Facebook. Do not find me on Facebook. I get random friend requests all the time. I don't know what they're about. I honestly delete them. I don't trust them. Too many bots, too many things. You can find me on the TikTok at @Papadi_618. If you find me on the TikTok, send me videos of just unusual animals or pets, like raccoons or something, or ferrets. I don't know. Found like weird animal TikTok, and it's dope. I have no real complaints. Also, side note, have a safe 4th of July weekend, and I hope y'all have a good rest of your week and a good safe weekend. Grill some hot dogs. Watch that Netflix movie called like The Beginning of America or something. I don't even know. It's a cartoon with George Washington and people, and it looks so dumb at the same time. Just like, I refuse to watch this until July 4th. I'm gonna find hot dogs on July 4th, and I am going to sit down and watch this movie on Netflix and just literally wait for the line that hooked me the entire damn preview. Like, ding dong, it's America, motherfucker. And I'm like, I'm sold. I'm in this now. No, I'm invested. I've got to watch this on principle.
So the McLeans are having a couple people over on the 4th, and it looks like the kind of show that Chris would really like. So I might see if they want to like put it on their projector, and if so, I'll let you know, and you can come over and have like a grill out with us. Get invited to that cookout, son. And we'll watch that together and have merriment. For those of you wondering if you should follow me on social media, I will be going live a few times on the 4th of July on Instagram, and I'll be posting photos and videos on Instagram and YouTube probably the following day on that Monday. So you can party vicariously with me if you give me some social media follows.
I will not be posting anything. If nothing else, I'll probably share weird videos with my friends and just send them just dumbass videos I find funny. I will also be in Illinois this 4th of July weekend because it's the first 3-day weekend I've had in over a month, like everyone else. And so I'm going to go spend time with my family after I get this tire taken care of tomorrow, hopefully. Apparently, since I have a truck, my spare tire is actually just a regular tire and not a donut like cars. So it's one of those things where, technically speaking, I probably could make the trip. I'm not taking that chance. So I'm doing everything in my power tomorrow to make sure I get my tire taken care of so I can drive safely home.
If they can't get you in or finished for some reason, I've also had good luck at Discount Tire and gotten in and out. So worst case scenario, pretty much any of the tire shops in our area have done me good because, as I said at the start of this podcast, I am not a car person. I do not know mechanics. I do not know how to change a tire. I call AAA and let them put a donut on, and then I have to go somewhere and get taken care of. So I'm pretty good with finding shops that'll fix me up for quick because I can't survive otherwise.
What I'm going to say is, first of all, changing a tire is not difficult. If I can do it, you can do it. You just got to know how to use your tools. I'm lucky. I have my own personal jack, so I didn't use the truck jack, which actually made things so much easier. But no, I'm going to tell you, like, Angie, you are 31 years old. YouTube it. You can YouTube it or just use the instruction manual in your car because it has one and it has a built-in jack and tire iron specifically for your car. You need to learn this. You need to get on auto TikTok. Get on. That's your assignment.
There's an auto TikTok.
Get on auto TikTok.
Here's my second
There's
point,
an everything TikTok. I promise you, there's an.
Wait, do you trust me to change your tire? Like, if I changed your tire, would you trust it? I wouldn't trust it.
I trust you to change your tire. I trust you to change your tire because you have to drive and you value your life and the life of your child. So I trust you to change your tire, and that's fine. I honestly barely trust me to change mine, and the only reason I say that is because the lug nuts. Because part of me, I got them on as tight as I could, but the wheel literally kept freaking turning as I was trying to turn the lug nuts on, to where I'm like, they're tighter than hand tight, which is good, but at the same time, I'm like, thank God I'm going to get this taken care of tomorrow, because I just want a professional. But one, get me a tire. Don't really care about cost at this point. Hopefully it's under $200 because I have a truck. So that just means bigger, more durable tires, which means I'm not getting anything under $100. But honestly, I just need a tire. I need them to put it on, and I need them to hopefully take the spare off. And if need be, put it under. They can put it underneath. That they can put it in the flatbed, and I can put it on my truck myself. That's fine. But I just need a new tire that I know is going to work, and go from there.
Yep. Well, I wish you luck with your tire journey, Papa D. I guess I'm hitting the auto TikTok to try to learn some shit. But also, for anyone curious with the Challenge 37, as I mentioned, it has wrapped with filming. It'll be premiering very soon, sounds like within the next month or so. I'll be posting updates on Twitter because I do want to finish podcasting The Circle But of course, we are going to be podcasting the challenge too. So when we see what that premiere date is, we'll know more of what's going on based on how many episodes of The Circle are left. Originally, I thought it was going to be longer, so I figured we'd do 2 seasons. But for 37, now we're barely going to get through 1. They might even overlap a bit. But keep to my Twitter. Again, that's at the Angie Chu. When I know more, I'll let you guys know what our plans are of finishing The Circle and starting Challenge 37. And yeah, if you guys have any, suggestions, tea, anything like that, feel free to send it our way.
What she said. On that note, peace, love, and pancakes.
Bye-bye.
You are listening to the Angie Chu Podcast Radio Network.